People can see.
Okay.
Can you just check 1 second in YouTube whether this is visible?
Okay.
So, did you read Hindu business page today? This
No, no,
money
no.
wise, this thing. Do read because I have kept it. I haven't read it also, but
That is
it looks very
that is
interesting. On
the
money
normal
wise,
the main Hindu paper, right?
yeah, yeah. 14th page, bond.
Yes, yes. I read it. I read it. I read it.
So, what is basically about?
So the top, I have to just recollect it. So the first article on top was about bonds. So
Yeah,
the
the
author is
both are.
stating that the interest rates. Yeah, I'll continue.
Yeah, both. One is
Hello.
like bond with the best bond
Yes, 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 yes,
with the best to stay ahead of inflation. So basically, they
yes,
are
yes,
recommending senior citizens, common investors should
yes.
opt for high quality corporate bonds to mitigate the risk of negative real returns. So they
Correct,
are
correct, correct.
recommending
With
corporate bonds.
inflation is yes, true. Inflation is very high, and FDs are very low.
Right.
So they need some other senior citizens who are worked in high positions. They'll have a lot of money, but they're losing the value of it every year. They have no other
Exactly.
income source, so they need to make something out of the money they have.
Hmm.
So they're currently they're recommending corporate bonds, which have around 8%. I think they are getting returns.
Okay.
RBI's government bonds and other high quality corporate bonds is the recommendation to in that article. And
Hmm.
the one below that,
Who, dude?
what was
Who
the
wrote
heading?
that article? Check that one. Bonds.
Who wrote it?
Check, check,
Oh yeah,
check.
I forgot, man. I don't have the paper with me now.
Oh,
Can you
acha,
recollect?
Anand Srinivasan. I was so surprised to see his name, man. Seriously. Anand Srinivasan is a financial consultant. So,
Okay, okay, okay.
the legend who I
Uh,
admire, no, Mani Pechu.
oh, right, 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 right.
So, he
Uh,
wrote
uh,
this
uh, uh.
article. It's very, very, I think I need to read every line of this one. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's good advice.
Hmm.
What is the heading of the second article? I forgot.
Simple equity funds, a better option for the first time
Ha,
investor.
ha, ha, ha.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So
did
there
you
are a lot
see
of
that today Adani's funds are getting bit
yes, yes,
lower
yes.
because of the uncharted funds he is getting from Mauritius?
Yes, actually, I wanted to tell you about 3 days back that if in case you had Adani shares, you should sell it.
I
you know,
have Adani shares. I have Adani Power, but
all right,
I
all
got
right.
it for 96 rupees. Today it is trading around 940 rupees.
Yes,
Probably I'll try to sell it tomorrow.
yes, yes. Sell it immediately. Because it seems
Hmm.
foreign players,
Hmm.
or we don't know who the players are. Maybe domestic persons who are masquerading as foreign players.
Hmm.
They are taking funds, putting it in Mauritius, and from Mauritius they're investing a lot of money into Adani Group shares.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they've invested about 46,000 crores
Yeah.
into just Adani shares.
Exactly.
So they're artificially it is like inflating the prices
Exactly. Exactly.
so that
Without
more
the
people buy.
proper profits and all.
True, and more people buy, and they can just sell at the top and make a lot of money off of other people's
Hmm.
expectations.
Exactly like
So
Dogecoin.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Because I think I'm pretty sure this Elon Musk
Musk.
would have made a lot of money out of it.
Yes, yes. There are a lot of theories floating around. Let's see,
Hmm.
because it seems he's making loss in China, so they want to catch up by earning something. So he did this.
Hmm.
Some theory. There are a lot of
Yeah.
theories, right? So we
Hmm.
can't be sure.
But
But
also, people are thinking that there is a lot of scope for this cryptocurrency. In Clubhouse, people are still discussing about this cryptocurrency, and then it may jump back in 2018. The same situation were there. Now
hmm.
it may rise back again. So something like that they're saying.
But Dilip, actually, I've been following cryptocurrency since like what 10 years, I think now.
Hmm.
Okay, so the very first time they heard about Bitcoin, I was interested about the term and I researched it. So,
mm,
what I think personally,
mm,
eventually these governments will not let this take off. Like in the current way it is happening, it's like a
mm.
wild west kind of
Yeah.
situation, like a gold rush, right? But eventually the wild west becomes civilized west, and gold rush becomes gold walk or something like that.
Mm,
So the governments will lose their power. The reserve banks will lose their power. Banks will
mm,
lose their power. The
mm,
entire current economic system will lose its power if the Bitcoin becomes prevalent, and there is no central authority to govern it. So
mm,
this Bitcoin, either it has to transform or it will go away. It will be like banned, because if it's transformed into a legal tender,
mm,
then eventually someone has to control it. The RBI controls it. So RBI can issue its own cryptocurrency, like China is doing. I think digital yuan, the
mm,
Chinese bank has, the RBI has released a
mm.
digital yuan, a digital cryptocurrency. You can have it in a wallet, transfer to other people, but the it's controlled by the central bank, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think India also can go down with that path, but the
That is
problem
what
is
they are
the
planning.
fundamental, the fundamental idea behind Bitcoin is that there should not be any central control. Like
Mm,
these guys who are developing that, they will not allow that to happen,
mm,
and banks will not allow a free economic system, parallel economic system to run also.
mm,
You can't tax it, you can't do anything.
mm. But I think
Governments
in
can't run.
US they are taxed, man.
It's all evolving, right?
Okay.
So how if there is no proper trail, I mean there is a trail, but like there's so many issues, right? If the
Mm,
taxation is like 10% of your income, we know the value is stable, right?
mm,
But if the government taxes you 10% and the 10% becomes nothing tomorrow, how
mm.
will the government function with that 10%? So they have to raise taxes. So there is the instability and there's a taxation issue also, right? All this. ஸோ இதெல்லாம் வந்து போயிட்டு இருக்கு. ஐ ஃபீல் லைக் ஐதர் இட் வில் probably it is the future. Bitcoin is the future in a regulated way, not in the current wild west way it's going. So
Right.
somebody with tweet can change the prices and go on increase and reduce. That is like no government will like that. If you are a governor of the Reserve Bank and you have to run a country,
Mm,
you know it will be a worst nightmare.
mm,
If imagine running a country without valuation, you don't know the value of anything.
mm,
The prices go up suddenly, you have to pay 10 bitcoin for bread today, and like what 0.0001 bitcoin for bread tomorrow. Imagine the wild valuations like that. It's not so easy actually. So in the
right.
tech savvy people, we can trade, like I can trade with you, you can trade with me.
Mm,
Somewhat we can do, but the mass la pathina therilla paapom. Okay, I think
let's
we're
see.
deviating from the topic lah.
So I think Manju is here. I think we should start
Okay.
reading. I mean, welcome Manju. We are waiting for you only. So I think Saravana also was about to join. But anyway, let's start the chapter two. I will start with the chapter two. Probably you guys can continue reading that one. Okay. So chapter two talks about faith, visualization, and belief in the attainment of desire. The second step to riches. Okay, faith. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconsciousness mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in case of prayer. The emotion of faith, love, and sex are the most powerful of all major positive emotions. When the three are blended, they have the effort of coloring the vibration of thought in such a way that it instantly reaches the subconscious mind, where it is changed into its spiritual equivalent. The only form that induces a response from infinite intelligence. Love and faith are psychic, related to the spiritual side of humanity. Sex is purely biological and related only to the physical. The mixing and blending of these three emotions has the effect of opening a direct line of communication between finite thinking human mind and infinite intelligence. How to develop faith? There comes now a statement which will give a better understanding of the importance of principle of auto-suggestion assumed in the transmutation of desire into its physical. or monetary or equivalent. Faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmations or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. As a illustration, consider one main purpose for which presumably you are reading this book. The object is naturally to acquire the ability to transmute the uh, intangible thought impulse of desire into a physical counterpart, money. By following the instruction laid down in the chapter of autosuggestion, chapter 3, and the subconscious mind, chapter 11, as summarized in the chapter or on autosuggestion, you can convince your subconscious mind that you believe you will receive that for which you ask. Your subconsciousness mind will act upon the belief, then pass it back to you in the form of faith, followed by definite plans for procuring that which you desire. The method by which one develops faith where it does not already exist is extremely difficult to describe. Almost as difficult, in fact, as it would be to describe the color of red to a blind person who has never seen color and has nothing with which to compare what you describe. Faith is a state of mind which you can develop at will after you have mastered the 13 principle in this book, because it is a state of mind which develops through voluntary application and use of these principles. Okay, let me try to understand what we have read here. So faith is something, is a chemist of mind and vibration of thought. So it can be, it is a very uh, deep emotion which is equivalent to spiritual idea, which there are multiple emotions like faith, love, and sex, which are also different dimensions of our mind, like physical, mental, and subconsciousness, right? So when you believe something it is true, it can be reverted back to you in a spiritual form, and your mind automatically believes that it is true, that it will happen to you, what you conceive, what you want, what you desire in your life. So I think subconsciously, like, we are trying to auto suggest to our mind that we are going to receive what we think is important for us, like that burning desire in our heart, right? Like previous chapter, I think this will come in a form of repeated suggestion. When you think about it repeatedly and you have faith that this will happen to you, I think that this will manifest into the reality. I think that is what it is being said. And any other uh, ideas you have caught other than what I have explained, guys? Any uh, uh, thing I have left out you guys want to, because this one page seems to little thicker than what we have read to the previous chapter. This one page is like a bit thicker, like more it's more deep.
Yeah, it's like heavy
Yeah,
words, like
yeah.
sort of each. I think it will be clearer as we go on, no?
Okay.
Because I think in the first paragraph, yes, like first line itself, faith is the head chemist of the mind.
Yes.
So he's like, faith is like a chemist.
Right.
So that's what he says. So you need the right ingredients and the right processes to
And
transmute.
also he tells that those people who don't have faith, it's like explaining red color to a blindless person, and
Mm.
that person can never understand what is faith. So if you need to have that mindset in order to understand this, master this 13 principle in this book. So you must have faith in order to understand what is, in order to acquire this 13 principle in this book. Okay, let me read one more page. Repetition or affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith. Perhaps the meaning will be made clearer through the following explanation of how individuals sometimes become criminals. Stated in the words of a famous criminologist, when people first come into contact with crime, they abhor it. They, if they remain in contact with crime for a time, they become accustomed to it and endure it. If they remain in contact with it long enough, they finally embrace it and become influenced by it. This is equivalent of saying that any impulse of thought which is repeatedly passed on to the subconscious mind is finally accepted and acted upon by the subconscious mind, which proceeds to to transplant that impulse into its physical equivalent by the most practical uh, pro- uh, procedure procedure available by the most practical procedure available. In connection with this, consider again the statement all thoughts which have been emotionalized, even feelings, and mixed with faith. So, all thoughts which have been emotionalized, given feelings, and mixed with faith being immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. I cannot understand these lines. Somehow it is going above my head. uh, all thoughts which have been emotionalized, given feelings, and mixed with faith, being immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. Okay, all thoughts which have been emotionalized and given
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah, actually, I read another book called The Secret. You
Okay,
may have heard of it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in they say the same thing in that they explain it in a little bit easier language.
okay,
They say thoughts are things.
hmm.
So thoughts
Right,
are things, literal things.
hmm.
So a thought simply does not have power, but when you infuse it with emotion
Hmm.
and you believe in it, you believe the universe will get it to you.
Hmm.
So that is faith, and then it starts to come true. Something like that they say in that book. I think
Right.
they
So,
are
so
implying the same
I
thing here.
think you have explained it wonderfully. I think I will read this lines again. Maybe we can relate better. So, all
Okay.
thoughts which have been emotionalized, given feelings, and mixed with faith, begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. Okay, now I understand this. Okay, so any thought which is given, which is emotionalized, given feelings, and mixed with faith can immediately translate into physical reality. So
Yes.
yes, okay. The emotions or the feeling portion of thoughts are the factors which give thoughts vitality, life, and action. The emotion of faith, love, and sex, when mixed together with any thought impulse, give it greater action than any of these emotion can do singly. What does mean by that? The
I
emotion
think
or
the same thing they're restating.
okay, okay,
So emotions mixed with thought
uh,
give it a greater influence. Just having an emotion is not enough. Just having a thought is not enough. When you mix them both, it is much more powerful. I think that's
okay,
what.
okay. Okay, it is not only those thoughts impulse which have been mixed with faith, but those which have been mixed with any of the positive emotions or any of the negative emotion that can reach and influence the subconscious mind. From this statement, you will understand that the subconscious mind will translate into its physical equivalent. A thought impulse of a negative or a destructive nature just as readily as it will act upon thought impulse of a positive or constructive nature Okay, so I mean these three paragraphs are becoming more and more theoretical in terms of emotional. So again, they are, as you said, they are trying to say that when you try to emotionalize your thoughts, like give feelings to your thoughts and mix it with the faith, and when subconsciousness mind believes that, it becomes a physical reality. So again, that is
I,
what they are saying.
correct. And also, they're adding one more point here. I think that if you continue, this accounts for strange phenomena which so many millions of people experience, referred to as misfortune. So, if you infuse a thought with a negative emotion
Okay.
or a negative thought with emotion,
Hmm.
that also will manifest. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Okay.
Along with it being a positive or a negative,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter for that for
Hmm.
this phenomena. If you
Hmm.
mix a positive emotion and a positive thought, it will become positive. Or a negative emotion and a negative thought powerfully, it will also start destroying things.
Hmm.
Just as however you done it, you are the responsible person for that.
Okay. 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 So I think, Sri, can you continue the this from
Yeah,
the
or Manju wants to read, she can read, no?
Manju?
Maybe.
You want
Yeah,
to read?
actually, I have a lot of disturbance nearby. You guys proceed. Once I get a place to settle, I'll read. You guys read now.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay. Yeah.
There are millions of people who believe themselves doomed to poverty and failure because of some strange force over which they believe they have no control. They are the creators of their own misfortunes because of this negative belief, which is picked up by the subconscious mind and translated into its physical equivalent. This is an appropriate place at which to suggest again that you may benefit by passing on to your subconscious mind any desire which you wish translated into its physical or monetary equivalent in a state of expectancy or belief that the transmutation will actually take place. Your belief or faith is the element which determines the action of your subconscious mind. There is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind when giving it instructions through autosuggestion, as I deceived my son's subconscious mind.
Hmm.
I think read this line again. There is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind when giving it instructions through autosuggestions,
Hmm.
just as I deceived my son's subconscious mind.
Okay. What they are saying
To
is that
make
you
this
can deceive
deceit
him.
more realistic, conduct yourself when you call upon your subconscious mind just as you would if you were already in possession of the material thing which you are demanding.
Hmm. Right.
Okay.
So what they are saying is that if you continuously give auto suggestion to your mind, you can deceive your subconsciousness itself,
Hmm. To
and
make it believe.
yeah, make it believe that you already possess what material things which you are demanding. So, for example, if I want a car, if I believe in my mind that I already have a car, I mean, I already possess a car, and I keep doing that continuously, one day I may get a car. I mean, which is like very, very small example, but one should not think only about car. I believe one should think bigger than car and house and other things.
Dilip is thinking about car a lot, I think.
Yeah.
On the house clubhouse அது
Because
and they all of them are telling you not to buy a car, by the way.
yeah, so this is something which not my interest, but my wife wants that car very desperately.
Dude, most of the people who are advising you will also have cars, man. After
I
buying only, they'll
completely
advise
see. I
everybody else
completely
not to buy.
understand. I mean, completely understand. But see, the thing is that uh, I can. It's not that we cannot buy a car, but it is also important that uh, do you want to empty your pocket and go in a deficit to buy a car? That is what
Hmm.
is more important, right? So and
True.
getting a loan again for that is very pretty bad idea, I believe. So
True.
within that, and also it is very difficult to get a second hand car within your
Hmm.
stipulated budget.
True. True.
So these are all things are there. Maybe we can discuss about it
Yes. Yes. Yes.
later. Yeah.
True. True. True.
So
Okay.
yeah,
We continue.
yeah.
Okay. The subconscious mind will transmute into its physical equivalent by the most direct and practical media available any order which is given to it in a state of belief or faith that the order will be carried out.
Right.
Surely, enough has been stated by now to give you a starting point from which you may, through experiment and practice, acquire the ability to mix faith with any order given to your subconscious mind. Perfection will come through practice. It cannot come by merely reading instructions. If it be true that one may become a criminal by association with crime, and this is a known fact, it is equally true that one may develop faith by voluntarily suggesting to the subconscious mind that one has faith. The mind comes, finally, to take on the nature of the influences which dominate it. Understand this truth, and you will know why it is essential for you to encourage the positive emotions as dominating forces of your mind and to discourage and eliminate negative emotions. A
Mm.
mind dominated by positive emotions or positive mental attitude becomes a favorable abode for the state of mind known as faith. A mind so dominated may, at will, give the subconscious mind instructions which it will accept and act upon immediately.
Mm.
Okay.
Right.
Continue?
Yeah, yeah, I'll continue. Hmm?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, faith is a state of mind which may be induced by autosuggestion. I repeat, faith is a state of mind which may be induced by autosuggestion. All down the ages, the religionists have uh, admonished, uh, admonished struggling humanity to have faith in this, that, and the other dogma or creed, but they have failed to tell people how to have faith. They have not stated that faith is the state of mind and that may be induced by self suggestion in the language which may any normal human being can understand. This book will describe all that is known about the principle through which faith can be developed where it does not already exist. Okay, again, in language which any normal human being can understand, this book will describe all that is known about the principle through which faith can be developed where it does not exist already. I mean, it does not already exist. Faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. Have faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. Before we begin, you should be reminded again that faith is the external auxiliary which gives life, power, and action to impulse of thought. The foregoing sentence is worth reading a second time and third time and fourth. It is worth reading aloud, which is what we are doing. Faith is a starting point of all accumulation of riches. Faith is a starting point of all accumulation of riches. Faith is the base of all miracles and mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. True. Faith is the only known antidote to failure. Faith is the only known antidote to failure. Faith is the equivalent, the chemical which, when mixed with the prayer, gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. Faith is equivalent which transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the finite human mind into its spiritual equivalent. Faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by humanity. Every one of the foregoing statements is capable of proof. The proof is simple and easily demonstrated. it is wrapped up in the principle of autosuggestion. Let us center our attention, therefore, on the subject of self-suggestion and find out what is it and what is it capable of achieving. It is a well-known fact that one comes finally to believe whatever one repeats to oneself, whether the statement be true or false. If we repeat a lie over and over, we will eventually accept the lie as truth. Moreover, we will believe it, it to be the truth. Each of us is what we are because of the dominating thoughts which we permit to occupy our mind. Thoughts which we deliberately place in our own mind and encourage with sympathy, and with which we mix any one or more of the emotion and constitute the motivating force which direct and control our environment and control our every movement, act and deed. Okay, so I think for the last one page or 1.5 page, we are coming to directly repeating oneself that how the auto suggestion, let's say faith, can, if you believe that faith can accumulate, faith is a starting point of accumulating all riches. So if you have faith, I think that is the starting point of accumulating all riches, all miracles, all mysteries. Even if you have failure in your life, you can overcome through having faith in yourself. Faith is a element, the chemical which mixed with prayers gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. I mean, this line really impressed me a lot, because this is very
Mhm.
true. I mean, if you keep on doing it every day, have faith in whatever, uh, greater subconscious power which exists in this universe. It becomes, it transcends into reality. That I have strong faith in that. So,
Mhm.
and vibration of thought also. So, faith is the only agencies through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by humanity. So, I also same again, like it can be harnessed. The intelligence, even science cannot understand the faith. So that is what they are trying to say. So if you have faith, whatever science can say that this is the logic, this faith will overcome the logic and prove that something is impossible is possible. So I believe that believing is the first step of having infinite riches. So yes. mm, and again, I'm
Mm.
going to start where I have left. Probably I'll finish this page.
Okay.
Comes now and very significant statement of truth. Thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotion constitute a magnetic force which attracts other similar or related thoughts. A thought thus magnetized with emotion may be compared to a seed which, when planted in a fertile soil, germinates, grows, and multiplies itself over and over again until that which was originally in one small seed becomes a countless millions of seed of the same kind. All human experience and all human thinking occurs in an environment, in a universe saturated with radiated energy and signals. From gravity to magnetism, from cosmic rays to X-rays, infrared rays, visible light, sound waves, radar, short waves, radio, and television signals, we live in a world constantly bombarded by vibrations of energy. Though we can perceive directly only the tiniest portion of them, though we can perceive directly only the tiniest portion of them. Okay. So I mean, see, do you want to continue from where I have left?
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Likewise, thought impulses are vibrations of energy transmitted in some deeply mysterious and as yet uncomprehended way as electrical and chemical currents among brain cells. While we do not yet understand and cannot describe scientifically the how of the process, it is clear that thought impulses, like electromagnetic radiation, also are out there somehow, as some experiments with extrasensory perception or ESP seem clearly to indicate. Human experiences, like the cosmos itself, teems with thought vibrations or influences, both destructive and constructive. It is characterized at all times by vibrations of fear, poverty, disease, failure, misery, and vibrations of prosperity, health, success, and happiness. Just as surely as the atmosphere carries the sound of hundreds of orchestrations of music and hundreds of human voices, all of which maintain their own individuality and means of identification through the medium of television or radio. From this great storehouse of experience, the human mind is constantly attracting vibrations which harmonize with that which dominates the mind. Any thought, idea, plan, or purpose which one holds in one's mind attracts from the thought vibrations of existence a host of its relatives, adds these relatives to its own force, and grows until it becomes the dominating, motivating master of the individual in whose mind it has been housed. I
Right.
think this needs some kind of
Yeah.
elaboration, right?
Uh,
What is he trying to say in these two?
so I think anything we try to, sometimes things which we cannot see, right? Like for example, there are too many magnetic waves around us, which cannot we cannot perceive it, we cannot visually see it, but those are those are out there. In the same way, there are multiple vibrations around us every day of life,
Hmm.
but if you try to direct it towards the positive vibration, your life becomes more positive and it dominates the mind. And so when you try to divert this into negative side, it also manifests into negative reality as well. So
Hmm.
the great store of experience of human mind constantly attracts vibrations which harmonizes with the that dominates the mind. So whichever emotions that dominates our mind will eventually manifest. An idea or a plan or even anything you should think of constantly will definitely manifest itself into the existence. I mean, that becomes a dominating, motivating master. That is what they are trying to say. That anything which you think becomes the motivating master of the individual in the whole mind, whose mind it has been housed. So basically, they are considering our mind as a mind as the a single focus. Like if you are single, like in a I right now I am thinking that why horses have this two side, what do you call,
Blinkers,
blinkers. Yeah,
blinkers.
so that one is because they want to see in one direction, like everything they,
Hmm.
so they go, they don't want to look this side or that side, they want to go in the single direction. I think that is what, if our mind is going in that single direction, that that will
Hmm.
that will eventually become possible. Yeah, motivating
Like
master.
when I read it again,
Hmm.
so I get this example like a TV, like your old style antenna of your cable TV, right? Which used to have antenna on the top of the house.
Right.
So if it's tuned to the right way,
Hmm.
if it's tuned to riches,
Hmm.
it will receive the vibrations of riches from the entire human experience.
Right.
Like if it is tuned to poverty, it will receive vibrations of poverty from the entire experience. Like this one line he says, it will attract a host of its relatives
Yes.
and adds these relatives its own forces.
Right.
So if you think about poverty, it will probably attract disease
Right.
and sadness and all its relatives, right?
Right.
Its family.
Right. So
But
so
if
so
you tune to some other channel, okay.
coming back to what you have asked, right? A
Hmm.
car becomes the dominating factor in my life, maybe. But more than the
Hmm.
dominating factor, I want to have a very strong foundation in which I build a big empire. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
so the car can be bought anytime, any point of your life. It goes and comes, it depreciates. But if you have a
Hmm.
strong foundation which are necessary for your life, which can derail you any point of your time, though even though you are very careful, yeah, some small decisions in your life can derail your whole things. For example, let's say I have not taken proper health cover or a proper like term insurance, or
Okay.
I don't have an emergency fund for myself. So I believe that, and I don't have any proper investment, no savings, nothing. I directly go into
Hmm.
buying a car. Means what purpose does it serve? Maybe that serves the purpose of impressing others, but that's a shallow hell, no? That car is
Hmm.
the car is a shallow. The same way, I am my appearance may look brighter, but internally I am shallow. So I believe that I want to build a strong foundation on which the generations can be built on. So that is the reason, I mean, I believe that this motivating factor, okay, no matter what others think, this is the right thing to do in
Hmm.
my life, let me continue in that direction. So
Okay.
I believe, yeah, thank you. So you want to continue reading, Manju, you want to read? Are you in the right place? No. Think some technical problem. Okay, I should I read, Sri, or you want to read?
Yeah. 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 Read. Yeah. You read. You read.
Okay, okay. Now let us go back to the starting point and become informed as to how the original seed of an idea, a plan, or a purpose may be planted in the mind. The information is easily conceived. Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. This is why you are asked in the next few pages to write out a statement of your major purpose or a definite chief aim. Commit it to memory and repeat it aloud day after day until these vibrations of sound have reached your subconscious mind. Excuse me. So, um, we are what we are because of vibrations of thought which we pick up and register through the stimulus of our daily environment. Resolve to throw off the influence of any unfortunate environment you may have grown up in or now find yourself living in. Resolve to throw off the influence of any unfortunate environment you may have grown up in or now find yourself living in, and to build your own life order. Yes, this is what I was saying before. So taking inventory of mental assets and abilities, you will discover that your greatest weakness is a lack of self confidence. This handicap can be surmounted, and timidity translated into courage through the aid of the principle of autosuggestion. The application of this principle may be made through a simple arrangement of positive thought impulses stated in writing, memorized, and repeated until they become a part of the working equipment of your subconscious mind. Self confidence formula. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment. and I hear and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually produce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intended to become, thereby creating my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know that through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction that does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the force I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred and envy, jealous and selfishness and cynicism by developing love for all humanity. Because I know that negative attitudes towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. Sixth, I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with the full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become a self reliant and successful person. Back of this formula is a law of nature which no one has yet been able to explain. It has baffled the scientists of all ages. The psychologists have named this the law of autosuggestion and let it go at that. The name by which one calls this law is of little importance. The important fact about is it works for the glory and success of mankind. If it is used constructively, on, on the other hand, if used destructively, it will destroy just as readily. In this statement may be found a very significant truth, namely that those who go down in defeat and end their lives in poverty, misery, and distress do so because of negative applications of the principles of autosuggestion. The cause may be found in the fact that all impulses of thought have a tendency to clothe themselves in their physical equivalent. All impulses of thought have a tendency to clothe themselves in their physical equivalent. The subconscious mind, the chemical laboratory in which all thought impulses are combined and made ready for translation into physical reality, makes no distinction between constructive and destructive thought impulses. It works with the material we feed it through our thought impulses. The subconscious mind will translate into reality a thought driven by fear just as readily it will translate into reality a thought driven by courage or faith. Okay, now to just to uh, you know just to revise what we have read. So this author suggests that we should have this six six formula. I mean, six things we should do every. We should do it like repeatedly, so that it becomes a subconscious thought, and it manifests itself into the reality. First thing he wants us to do is a definite purpose in our life. Like, I demand myself persistent continuous action towards the attainment. Like, I want something definite purpose. Second is that dominating your mind and physical
One,
action.
one more thing,
Yeah,
and I think there's a second part here. I demand of myself first there is you need a purpose, then you demand persistent continuous action.
hmm, hmm.
I think that word action is
Yeah,
also important in this point.
right, right. So that definite purpose needs action as well. So the
Yes.
second one is telling is that bring the definite purpose of your life into reality. Like, bring it into physical action. How can we do that? Is, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon what I intended to become. That we need to picturize it. Maybe if I would have read this book when I was preparing for UPSC, I would have done it 30 minutes, probably would have done it, but not maybe bleakly. But uh, this one, we could have projected it like we would be projecting every 30 minutes. I would be, after I become IAS officer, what I will be doing, how will I look, what are the things I will do. So, like that, maybe that is what they are saying. So, third is
True.
that third is that the self confidence, that I need to consistently boost my self confidence, that believe in oneself, like devote daily demanding in myself development of self consciousness, right? Like auto suggestion, we have to tell our mind that I am confident in what I believe in, right? So daily 10 minutes. And fourth is that uh, have a, like, we need to write down what our chief aim in life is. Like, write it down in a paragraph, maybe a small line, maybe, and then uh, the that will definitely help us uh, de- uh, you know uh, developing our self confidence as well. And fifth is that we need to realize that that any kind of negativeness or hatred towards others will not help us in any way in our life. Probably it is a short term kick for us, for ourselves, that in order to beat someone I want to win. But really it does not work in the longer process. So we need to let go of all these negative thoughts and try to focus on the positive thoughts, so that we can build a stronger uh, stronger mind, and manifest ourselves into, we can believe in ourselves as well as believe in others as well, others potential as well, right? So sixth thing he says is that probably we need to repeat, uh, read what we have read, what we have wrote every day aloud. And this, when you speak about this every day, when you read this, repeat this words formula every day, and then these thoughts will get into action, and this action will become into reality. So, and that will become one day whatever person you are wanting to be in your life. So, yeah. So I think I have completed till T. All impulse of thought have the tendency to clothe themselves in the physical equivalent, right? So maybe I have completed other paragraph also. Did I complete other paragraph?
I think, yeah, till the pages of medical history, I think that is where you have to start.
Yeah. So you want to start there, Sri?
Yeah, sure.
Probably we'll try to. How many pages are there in this chapter? Probably if the pages are too many, we can't be able to finish this today. So maybe
It's
we can complete. We can read for another 10 minutes and then uh, close this session. But I think,
oh
do you think we need to go fast?
no, I think the pace is right. It's not a book to be read fast, I think.
Exactly, exactly,
And
exactly.
secondly, this section is heavy.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
contemplation is part of the reading,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I think
And
it's
we
better we act.
sometime we repeat what we have read. We have tried to explain what we have read, makes it more deeper, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, rather than reading alone, in
Yeah,
which you don't understand something, you just skip it anyway because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
going to the
yeah,
next
yeah,
section.
yeah.
Here we are digesting it.
Exactly, exactly.
It's good.
Brilliant, brilliantly said. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Continue. Sri.
Right. The pages of medical history are rich with illustrations of cases of suggestive suicide. A person may commit suicide through negative suggestion just as effectively as by any other means. In a Midwestern city, a man by the name of Joseph Grant, a bank official, borrowed a large sum of the bank's money without the consent of the directors. He lost the money through gambling. One afternoon, the bank examiner came and began to check the accounts. Grant left the bank, took a room in a local hotel, and when they found him 3 days later, he was lying in bed, wailing and moaning, repeating over and over these words: "My God, this will kill me. I cannot stand the disgrace." In a short time, he was dead. The doctors pronounced the case one of mental suicide. Just as electricity turns the wheels of industry and renders useful service if used constructively, or can snuff out life if used improperly, so will the law of autosuggestion lead you to peace and prosperity or down into the valley of misery, failure, and death, according to your degree of understanding and application of it. If you fill
It's
your
8 o'clock.
mind with, that's all?
No, no, continue, continue.
Okay. If you fill your mind with fear, doubt, and unbelief in your ability to connect with and use the forces of infinite intelligence, then the law of autosuggestion will take the spirit of unbelief and use it as a pattern by which your subconscious mind will translate it into its physical equivalent. This statement is as true as the statement that 2 and 2 equals 4. Like the wind which carries one ship east and another west, the law of autosuggestion will lift you up or pull you down according to the way you set your sails of thought. The law of autosuggestion, through which any person may rise to altitudes of achievement which stagger the imagination, is well described in the following verse. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you will lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can.
Yeah, can you read the last paragraph?
The last verse. Okay. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can.
Right. Brilliant.
Yes.
Excellent, no?
Yeah, excellent. I think we should read this every now and then.
Yeah.
Once in a while,
Exactly. Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
read this section.
Exactly.
Okay.
See, some people
Next.
in the beginning, if you have read this book, the copy I have, probably you have or not, but the copy I have, people have been reading this book again and again. Some people have read 50 times. Some people have read 100 times. So every time they read, they are getting something new out of it. maybe I
Hmm.
when I read that forward or the or the introduction part or the previous author's comments, I thought they are
Hmm.
exaggerating the process, like exaggerating the book. Probably they are trying to sell the book so that they are
Hmm.
trying to
Hmm.
overstate what it is already there. But somehow
Hmm.
while
Hmm.
reading it, uh, this paragraph, this poem alone will it's a it's a fact. It's kind of it's an example why they have been reading this again and again to get inspiration from it.
Hmm. Reading the book itself is doing what the book is set out to do. Like
Right.
it's like linked together, no? Like
Exactly.
if you're reading, getting inspired, the
Ah,
book is also talking about inspiration and motivation. So
exactly.
I think reading itself will again motivate you.
Hmm.
So I think that's
Hmm.
why people are reading it again and again.
Hmm. Right. Right. Right.
Okay. So I'll continue.
Yeah. Maybe
We'll,
another five
we'll,
minutes.
fi-
Yeah.
we'll finish with the explanation of this poem. So maybe we can start tomorrow with
Sure.
the
Sure. Sure.
next one. Okay. Observe the words which have been emphasized, and you will catch the deep meaning the poet had in mind. Somewhere in your makeup, or perhaps in the cells of your brain, there lies sleeping the seed of achievement, which, if aroused and put into action, would carry you to heights such as you may never have hoped to attain. Just as a master musician may cause the most beautiful strains of music to pour forth from the strings of a violin, so may you arouse the genius which lies asleep in your brain and cause it to drive you upward to whatever goal you may wish to achieve. Abraham Lincoln was a failure at everything he tried until he was well past the age of 40. He was a Mr. Nobody from nowhere until a great experience came into his life, aroused the sleeping genius within his heart and brain, and gave the world one of its truly great men. That experience was mixed with the emotions of sorrow and love. It came to him through Annie Rutledge, the only woman he ever truly loved. It is a known fact that the emotion of love is closely akin to the state of mind known as faith, because love comes very near to translating one's thought impulses into the spiritual equivalent. During my long years of research, I discovered from the analysis of the life work and achievements of hundreds of people of outstanding accomplishment that there was the influence of a spouse's love back of nearly every one of them. If you wish,
என்ன எல்லா மனுஷனும் அக்ராஸ் தமிழ் அப்படிதான் இருக்கிறாங்கப்பா. ஓகே ஓகே.
so if you wish evidence of the power of faith, study the achievements of men and women who have employed it. At the head of the list comes the Nazarene. Christianity is one of the single greatest forces ever to influence the minds of people. The basis of Christianity is faith. No matter how many people may have perverted or misinterpreted the meaning of this great force, and no matter how many dogmas and creeds have been created in its name, which do not reflect its tenets, the sum and substance of the teachings and achievements of Christ, which have been interpreted as miracles, were nothing more or less than faith. If there were any such phenomena or miracles as miracles, they are produced only through the state of mind known as faith. Some teachers of religion and many who call themselves Christians neither understand nor practice faith. Faith is the cornerstone of every great religion. The Old Testament psalmist has written, "O love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully reward the proud doer." The Apostle Luke tells us, and Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles among the people. And Mark reports Jesus is saying, "Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague." The Prophet says in the Quran, "Surely those who believe and do good, their Lord will guide them by their faith, and there shall flow from beneath them rivers in gardens of bliss." In the Analects of Confucius, the master says, "Hold faithfulness and sincerity as first principles and be moving continually to what is right. This is the way to exalt one's virtue." In the Bhagavad Gita, we find,
என்னடா இது நம்ம ஆளுகிட்ட வரலையே, அது வேணா வரணும் வரணும் வாங்க வாங்க.
yes, yes. From what he knows, he is proceeding, no?
Yeah, yeah. In
From his.
1937 itself, he referred this book. Means I don't know whether this is a uh, re.
Which one? The Bhagavad Gita?
Probably they have added this later or before. This
No,
was
no,
written.
no. Actually,
Hmm,
our spiritual textbooks have been very famous. No, our this Max Muller
hmm,
and all. A lot of people have read our
yeah.
spiritual books. I think more than us during that
But
18th century itself.
in the next paragraph they are talking about Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
Okay, I think they have added this later part. I guess.
Maybe during his South African thing itself, he might have become famous.
Okay,
Okay, maybe. Let's
continue,
let's see.
continue.
Let's see. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find the faith of each is in accordance with one's own nature. A person is known by the faith. One can become whatever one wants to be if one constantly contemplates on the object of desire with faith. And again, the one who has faith and is sincere and has mastery over the senses gains knowledge. Having gained this, one at once attains the supreme peace. But the ignorant who has no faith and is full of doubt perishes. There is neither this world nor the world beyond, nor happiness for the one who doubts. Let us consider the power of faith as it was demonstrated by Mahatma Gandhi of India, who exhorted to his followers to be the change you want to see in the world. In this man, the world had one of the most astounding examples known to civilization of the possibilities of faith. Gandhi wielded more power than any other person living in his time, and yet he had none of the orthodox tools of power, such as money, battleships, soldiers, and materials of warfare. Gandhi had no money, he had no home, he did not own a suit of clothes, but he did have power. And how did he come by that power? He created it out of his understanding of the principle of faith and through his ability to transplant that faith into the minds of 200 million people. Back when we were 200 million people, I think Gandhi might have had it a lot tougher in 2021.
Yeah.
No, nothing
Okay.
on Gandhiji and just
Uh,
light-hearted comment.
okay. Should I read?
Yeah,
Gandhi accomplished through the influence of faith that which the strongest military power on earth could not then, and never will accomplish through the soldier and military equipment. He accomplished the astounding feat of influence 200 million minds to coalesce and move in unison as a single mind. What other force on earth except faith could do as much? There will come a day when employees as well as employers will discover the possibility of faith. That day is dawning. The whole world has had ample opportunity during the recent worldwide economic downturn to witness what the lack of faith will do to business. Surely, civilization has produced a sufficient number of intelligent human beings to make use of this great lesson which has been taught the world. During this time of difficulty, the world had evidence in abundance that widespread fear can paralyze the wheels of industry and business. Out of this experience will arise leaders in business and industry who will profit by the example which Gandhi set for the world, and they will apply to business the same tactics which he used in building the greatest following known in the history of the world. These leaders will come from the rank and file of the unknown who now labor in the steel plants and the coal mines, the factories, and in small towns and cities of America. Business is due for a reform. Make no mistake about this. The method of the past, based upon economic combination of force and fear, will be supplanted by the better principles of faith and cooperation. People who labor will receive more than daily wages. They will share more and more in profits from the business, the same as those who supply the capital for business. But First, they must give more to their employers and stop bickering and bargaining by force at the expense of the public. They must earn the right to profit sharing. Right. Moreover, as this is the most important thing of all, they will be led by leaders who will understand and apply the principles employed by Gandhi. Only in the way can only in this way can leaders get from their followers the spirit of full cooperation, which constitutes power in the highest and most enduring form. This stupendous age in which we live and form from which we are just emerging has taken the soul out of people. Its leaders have driven workers as though they were piece of cold machinery. They were forced to do so by employees who bargained at the expense of all concerned to get and not to give. The watchword of the future will be human happiness and contentment. And when this state of mind shall have been attained, the production will take care of itself and more efficiently than anything that has ever been accomplished. Where workers did not and could not faith mix faith and individual interest with their labor. Because of because of the need for faith and cooperation in operating business and industry, it is both interesting and profitable to analyze an event which provides an excellent understanding of the method by which industrialists and business people accumulate great fortunes by giving before they try to get. I mean, this this 2 pages, I mean maybe 1 page, may have talked about uh, you know how the employees need to trust in their leaders so that the leaders can get full cooperation and the leaders can earn enough profit to share it equally uh, with their employees. So in order for the employers to earn more money, the employees need to have faith, contribute uh, with their faith, so that there can be better achievements in whatever uh, uh, aims the
Hmm.
company has.
True.
So yeah. So do you think we need to stop here, or
Yes, I think we can continue tomorrow. The
yeah?
next story is starting, so I think we can do that tomorrow onwards.
Sure, sure. Probably I'll mark it here, and then we can continue reading and work. Okay. So thank you guys
Okay.
for
Thank you, Dilip.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
See you. Bye
See
bye.
you. Bye bye. Bye.